Chapter 1. Just Kids with a Dream. I've always wanted to be able. I've always wanted to be able to tell stories. Stories that can came from my soul. I like to sit by fire and tell people stories, make them see pictures, make them cry and laugh, take them anywhere emotionally and with something as deceptively simple as words. I like to tell tales to move their souls and transform them. I've always wanted to be able to do that. Imagine how the great writers must feel knowing they have the power. I sometimes feel I could do it. I something it's something I'd like to develop. In a way, songwriting uses the skills, creates the emotional highs and lows, but the story is a sketch. It's a quicksilver. There are very few books written on the art of storytelling, how to grip listeners, how to get a group of people together and amuse them. No costumes, no makeup, no nothing, just you and your voice, and your powerful ability to take them anyway to transform their lives, if only for minutes. As I begin to tell my story, I want to repeat that I usually say to people when they ask me about the earliest days with Jackson 5. I was so little when we began to work on our music that I really don't remember much about it. Most people have the luxury of careers that start when they are old enough to know exactly what they are doing and why. But of course, that wasn't true of me. They remember everything that happened to them. But I was only 5 years old when you are a show business child. You really don't have the maturity to understand a great deal of what is going on around you. People make a lot of decisions concerning your life when you're out of your room. So here's what I remember. I remember singing at the top of my voice and dancing with a real joy and working too hard for a child. Of course, there are many details I don't remember at all. I do remember that Jackson 5 really taking off when I was 8 or 9. I was born in Gary, Indiana, on a late summer night in 1958, the seventh of my parents' 9 children. My father, Joe Jackson, was born to Arkansas, and in 1949 he married my mother, Catherine Scrooge, whose people came from Alabama. My sister Maureen was born the following year and had the tough job of being the oldest. Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Latoyo, and Marlon were all next in line. Randy and Janet came after me. A part of my earliest memories in my father's job working in a steel mill. It was tough, mind numbing work, and he played music for escape. At the same time, my mother was working in a department store. Because of my father and time, because of my mother's own love of music, he heard it all the time at home. My father and his brother had a group called the Falcons, who were the local R&B band. My father played the guitar, as did his brother. They would do some of the great early rock and roll and blues songs by Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Otis Redding, you name it. All those styles were amazing, and each had an influence on Joe and on us, although we were too young to know it all at the time. The Falcons practiced in the living room of our house in Gary, so I was raised on R&B. Since we were 9 kids, made for a huge family. Music was what we did for entertainment, and those times helped keep us together and kind of encouraged my father to be a family oriented man. The Jackson 5 were born on out of this tradition. We later became the Jacksons, and because of this training and musical tradition, I moved out on my own and established a sound that is mine.